It's so easy to actually prevent skin cancer, and the fact that sunscreens are still not being used, haven't been used as much as they should be, I really feel strongly that everyone every day should be wearing a sunscreen. Nobody really knows what clean beauty actually really means. It's a really fancy marketing term. It's kind of funny because you have some of these clean beauty products that are, touting certain or more organic, natural ingredients, but they could be made in really terrible facilities. So if you put a bunch of vitamin C into the formulation and we touch it and we mix it up, it's going to start neutralizing everything that's in there. And what it'll do is it will completely make it go completely clear.
Oh my gosh.
So you can see the power of vitamin C and how it's being liberated in water.
This is Skin Talks, the podcast where we go deeper than skin, products, and trends and explore the conversations that actually matter in health, beauty, wellness, and confidence.
We're a mother-daughter duo and the founders of Boutique Skin Envie. After years inside the industry, we've learned that health is never just about what you use. It's about everything you digest, how you think, how you live, what you eat, how you move, what you put on your skin, and how you feel in your own body.
If you're looking for insight, honesty, and a fresh perspective on the future of health, beauty, and wellness, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it.
Skin Talks podcast by Boutique Skin Envie, hosted by Beate and Natascha.
Today, we're welcoming Mike Vivier from Vivier Skincare. It's one of our favorite Canadian brands that we have on Boutique Skin Envie, and we're so excited to have this conversation with him. We've had him on the podcast, I think, 4 times already in the past, but it's been a minute, so we are excited to welcome him back today because the conversation is going to be a little bit different. Fast forwarding the couple of years that we've had since the last time we've had him on the podcast, a lot has changed in the skincare industry. And so today we're really going to focus on skin health, which is a very important and very popular trending term used in skincare today, as well as science behind skincare. And of course, we couldn't help but cover his vitamin C's or Vivier's vitamin C's. They have 9 different vitamin C's, and he's really going to help us to understand the reason why there's so many different vitamin C's and how they have been formulated and adapted to take you through that skin journey in your life and why they're so important. Welcome to the podcast, Mike.
Welcome back to the podcast, Mike. We're so happy to have you here. We love chatting with you about all the things, but today we're really excited because we're going to dive a little bit into skin health, science, and vitamin C. So before we get started, we want to know, you've spent decades in the skincare world. What surprises you most when you first entered the industry, and what surprises you to this day?
Yeah, I think it's such a great question. What always surprised me was I didn't really understand how prevalent skin cancers are and were, especially at the beginning, and that it's so easy to actually prevent skin cancer. And the fact that sunscreens are still not being used, haven't been used as much as they should be, I really feel strongly that everyone every day should be wearing a sunscreen. But it's one of the things that I'm seeing still, and it's with all the education that we have and with the access to information, it would be really, really great that we can still keep educating on the use of daily sunscreens and that skin cancers are really real. A friend of mine who's actually 42 was just diagnosed with a skin cancer on his arm. And thank God he had caught it. Actually, his wife caught it quickly and said, you need to go to a dermatologist. And he was obviously hemming and hawing, typical guy. And he went, and sure enough, it was skin cancer. And they had to actually remove a decent chunk of, right by his elbow and his arm. So he's doing really, really well. And thank God it hadn't spread. But, again, the summer months, it's really important. Obviously, if we're skiing, we're out in the sun, there's a lot of reflection. It's really important to wear sunscreen.
Yeah, all year round. I couldn't agree
even
more.
Even if it's like rain or shine, even if you're inside, just like put it on, slap it on.
Yeah, sunscreen is just part of my daily routine. It always has been, always will be. And it's just one of those things that, it always surprises me that we know this, and yet there's still so many people leaving medical facilities, medical practices. They're not advocating enough about sunscreens, and people are leaving without purchasing a sunscreen or incorporating it into their daily routine. So that's something that I'm most passionate about, especially after my very good friend being diagnosed with skin cancer. We all think it's not going to happen to us. My mother-in-law had a spot on the back of of her leg as well, with about the size of a golf ball that had to be removed. So, it is prevalent, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things that
Really
we
have
be
to
careful.
pay attention to it. And, I think that maybe originally when the different types of sunscreen came out, they were uncomfortable on the skin. But with today's professional medical grade sunscreens, I find like they're they work also as a lot of times as a foundation. Like they're very comfortable and hydrating today. So there's really no reason why somebody shouldn't incorporate it in. It's just, they've come such a long way in terms of texture and the support that they have in the appearance of your skin and your glow. There's no
That's
reason.
a really good point.
Yeah.
Very, very good point. You're absolutely right. I'm going to speak especially for the guys, because there's a lot of guys out there. We have this misconception that they're going to look white or that they're not going to blend in. Now, we also offer tinted sunscreens, which are really, really great. So if you want that instant glow, kind of,
No makeup,
Instagram ready, exactly. So you're right. Sunscreens have come a long way. They really do melt into the skin. They offer much better protection today than they did 25 years ago when we first started. Most sunscreens are broad spectrum now, really covering UVA, UVB. UVA is what really causes that damage. UVB is what really causes, sort of the burns. But yeah, I mean, if we want to prevent anti-aging, the sun is one of the strongest anti-aging factors that we come in contact with. The best anti-aging solution is a daily sunscreen.
Absolutely. If it's one product that you're going to use, it should be that for sure. I couldn't agree more. So, Mike, in your opinion, what do most people fundamentally misunderstand about healthy skin?
Yeah, so healthy skin, I think a lot of people think that when they're young or that their skin looks really great, that it's healthy. And it really comes down to starting with a routine. Most people are using one or two different products, but haven't really given it a great shot. And so I always go back to using, nutrition as a great example, is that we have 4 different food groups. We have to eat from them. Now there's tons of supplements on the market. Most people I know, including myself, take supplements, but it's really about having a proper and full and complete routine. That's why we created our kits or our systems of products. And when you're on a full, integrated skincare regime and a routine, that's what really gives you skin health at more of a cellular level, but it's also offering that protection. It comes with a sunscreen.
Yeah.
And so you really have to layer different types of products on the skin to do the various different things that we really need to truly have a healthy skin.
Yeah, to optimize skin health for sure. For sure. And and obviously that goes, which we'll talk about in a little bit for more about, the lifestyle that we have that supports that. So I find the more and more we learn about the skin health as we understand it from a different level of, there's really a global approach, a 360-degree approach. You can just use products, yes, but if you're not incorporating other good lifestyle habits, you're going to end up down a slippery slope.
Very true.
So before we get into that, I really wanted to understand what's the biggest lie that skincare industry still tells consumers, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that, there's still a lot of organic and natural lines that are claiming that they're as effective, or that there's this whole, movement of clean beauty.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows what clean beauty actually really means.
Yeah.
It's a really fancy marketing term by a large retailer that was created. And so there's a lot of, I think, falsehoods in that. For us, clean beauty is that we are pharmaceutical. So we're, registered with Health Canada, FDA. Our products are manufactured in what are called GMP facilities, which is, great or good manufacturing practices. They're all ISO. They're regulated by Health Canada and FDA. You can eat off the floor. Everything is in sanitary environments. So it's kind of funny because you have some of these clean beauty products that are, touting certain or more organic, natural ingredients, but they could be made in really terrible facilities. And I've seen, it's interesting, some of our competitors in the US, they actually make their products in-house, and it's in a warehouse where there's shipping and picking and packing. So there's dust, there's all types of stuff.
It's not regulated.
There's the popcorn ceiling that you see up in the warehouse, and there's open vats, and the owner's actually in there and showing you like the creams being mixed. So in manufacturing, like pharmaceutical manufacturing, where the products are actually mixed is its own temperature controlled, humidity controlled, light controlled, pressure controlled rooms so that we're not introducing contaminants into the room. You know, people are actually all dressed from head to toe in the proper
The
materials.
hazmat
There's,
suits.
yeah, almost like a little suit, you know,
Yeah.
and you have to go across. There's a sticky on the floor so that you don't bring contaminants in. It's really the best and highest level
It
of
is. I
manufacturing.
visited a facility like that when I was in France once a long time
I would
ago.
love to see one.
And actually, one thing I can remember is all the things that you said, Mike, but I remember that there was no square corners. Everything was rounded.
Correct.
Because even the dust that gets into the corners and nooks, there is none.
Correct.
What?
Yeah.
So it's
all the floors are like
completely-
an operating room
Yep.
where they're rounded so that they can be properly sanitized and cleaned.
No dust
You know,
accumulation,
amazing.
no
I had no
bacteria,
idea.
no.
steel, you know, vats and everything.
Amazing.
And the QA, so the quality assurance and quality control in these facilities is really high. So to me, that's clean beauty because you're manufacturing at those standards. The other thing is that we're using pharmaceutical grade ingredients that are coming from large suppliers. They come with a certificate of analysis guaranteeing their purity, their efficacy. So to me, that's clean beauty. And then we actually test for microbial limits and bacteria in the products. I've seen organic products and an organic makeup line, and when I was opening up some of the lipsticks, there was actually spores of mold growing on them. So if you don't have the right, and they're claiming that it's a clean beauty line and it's a clean beauty brand, and yet there's literally mold growing all over the product. So I think that's probably one of the biggest lies out there. It's really important just to, you know, there's a place for organic lines. I think there's a place for these types of products. There is always a consumer for them. It's the complete opposite of what we do. And I think a lot of the messaging around those products, that they're comparable or that they're better or superior to, you know, pharmaceutical grade products, that, you know, companies like ourselves jump through all these hoops. I just think that that's really misrepresenting sort of their positioning of their products and the others in the market.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we love to have these types of conversations because we're so marketed to on so many different levels. And then we get into this algorithm and this path on social and stuff like that feeds information in. But, you know, people just believe things that they hear and see, and they don't actually ask the question. So I really like that point of, you know, because there's a lot of things going on in the industry and the important thing is to ask questions about it. So I
always joke about that if it's natural and organic, I mean, we could make a poison ivy cream tomorrow, you know, and I don't think people would
which
really
would be
like
natural
it.
and
So
organic.
just because things are natural and organic or touted to be clean, what does that really mean? And so, you know, they're sort of touting that they're free from sort of, you know, fragrances and dyes and certain ingredients and things
Parabens and all
like
these
that
things.
and parabens and you know, there's a lot of just misinformation around these ingredients and, you know, it's
I think also one of
marketing.
the things is you like when you really go to this like natural, it's like straight from the plant. It's like you don't know exactly how much of that ingredient is being extracted from the plant versus another plant right next to it. So like it's not
equal.
It's not equal and it's not like measured properly. So you could have one product that's extremely potent and potentially could
Dangerous.
be dangerous,
Yeah.
where one is not potent at all. It's because it's not measured properly. Like you don't know plant to plant what the components are and like how much is in them.
How they're extracted, how
Yeah.
they're manufactured,
Whereas,
and
like,
in what environment. There's so many things
As
around
in like
that.
professional grade skincare, everything is like measured properly and like really made sure that the efficacy is good. It's not too dangerous. It's not too potent. It's not potent enough. Like all these things,
The
it's
pH
measured
levels, all of the
correctly.
different, and also the scientific research that goes behind clinical studies and, you know,
You
all
got
of that
it.
kind of stuff is really backed. It's not clinical studies that are based on, you know, consumer preference.
Yeah.
It's more like detailed, right? But again, we're very gullible, and we can see that more and more in our world that we're living in today, that we believe what we see and hear without asking questions. And we need to ask
every
those
product that
questions.
we launch now, we really focus on doing clinical trials and studies, and we use what's called the Visia machine.
I
And
love
the
that
Visia
machine.
I
is
use that with you
amazing
guys.
because it shows you not only photographic on the surface, but it actually takes photos into the skin so you can see what's happening, and then it can actually measure very quantitatively what's happening
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the skin. And
Also
so
visually, Mike, you really see the visual, like there's no
Well,
photoshopping in them.
I did the Visia at your office actually when I was doing
Yes.
I think it was
Hydroquinone.
hydroquinone. And I
Yeah.
saw really what my skin looked like on so many different levels. It was actually quite insane. And then after my hydroquinone, what my skin looked like after, and the significance when it came to my pigmentation, which is my main focus.
Well, that's
Yeah. So
something
we
I'd
just
like to
launched a
talk to
new
you
product.
about, Mike. Actually, I was just thinking about because Tashi did the hydroquinone, but I would love to go on
Yeah.
a Visia Vivier routine. And because
That'd be
we're right
cool.
across the street from you, I'd love to be able to see what it would do to a more mature skin, me being in my mid 50s,
Well,
you
it's
know?
cool because you also see like like any like bacteria, you see like the oiliness in your skin, the redness, all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
talked
You
about
can
it
see
before the
pores. You
episodes.
can see
Yeah,
everything.
Mike, we talked about before the start of the episode that we have a special guest here today,
Yeah.
which
He's
is
having a
I
moment.
love it.
my 2-week-old grandson Maximilian. So,
I love
yeah.
it.
So I'll continue on because Tasha's just is going to
Yeah, so we just launched a new product actually. It's a really intensive hydrating moisturizing product, and we did some really nice studies on it and showed that we were able to increase hydration in the skin by about 47% within 1 hour. And then within about 6 hours or so, we were able to see a 55% increase in hydration. So we're able to make these claims because there's a lot of science and there's these credible studies behind the products,
Yeah.
so that we know and can understand that they actually are working, they're delivering on their
Yeah.
promise. And a lot of these other lines just don't have that science and they don't have the studies backing them. So I think that would be a really, really big thing that I'd always, push for consumers is to really research the line, go and see the science behind it. But, science is such a big term. Look at the studies and
Yeah.
look at what's being done.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. So I want to ask you another question a little bit in a different direction. And so we're talking about like the truths around skincare kind of thing. So why do you think so many people are doing everything, what they consider to be in parenthesis, everything right, but still are unhappy with their skin? Why do you think that is?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing is they're not using Vivier.
Okay. There you go. A little brand in there.
Yeah, it's like there's my first joke of the day, bad joke or good joke of the day. But the reality is the skin is constantly changing, right? And it's evolving.
Yeah.
So you have to change and evolve your skincare routine with it. And that's why we offer so many different products is it depends on where you are in the aging cycle. We're seeing obviously that hormonal changes happen, month to month. Obviously there's perimenopausal skin to postmenopausal skin. There's different times of the year where
Yeah,
we
like
look
seasons,
at
right?
just the seasons, and as seasons change, so our skin is going through so many different things, and really you have to be able to adjust your skincare wisely as you're on your journey. Just because something works for you for a year doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
going to work for you, moving forward. So that's why we have a progression in all of our vitamin C's, in our moisturizers, our hydrators. So basically, as you're on that journey and your skin gets used to it, or as we're aging, we will need to add other ingredients in. So it's really important to tailor that your skincare routine to your skin. And that's where you guys come into play. And that's where your expertise is so huge. And that's why we work with medical clinics, is that people can go to a clinic and get the proper consultation and then adjust their skincare to have the right routine depending on the changes in their skin. And everybody's different. Everyone
Yeah.
responds differently. So
It's really a customizable approach and really
Yeah.
just according to what's
Yeah.
going on in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they're unhappy with their skin, then the reality is try different products, then you might just not be on the right product for you, might be not on the right product line. I just got back from a really nice event. We're talking to a lot of individuals who have just been newly on Vivier, and they were, so excited with the changes that they were seeing. They were been so unhappy with a lot of other products, and then they got on the Vivier line and they were really ecstatic about it. And that's what I love about it, is that there's so many lines out there that will improve the skin. So they're working, they're doing something, but not to the level of, like,
Yeah.
for example, pharmaceutical line's going to give them.
Yeah.
And most people are really blown away with, how you can step up your routines and how different brands or different lines
Yeah.
are going to give them, an even better result.
I agree. I love that. Okay, that's great. Let's talk about hydration, because dryness and dehydration are not the same thing. You can slather on a moisturizer and still feel tight, dull, or flaky. And that means that your skin is dehydrated, lacking water, not oil. Hydrinity's restorative HA serum uses medical grade hyaluronic acid and regenerative peptides to deeply hydrate at a cellular level and repair the barrier from within. The glow, the plumpness, and the bounce, it works fast, and our clients get hooked. If your skin drinks this up in seconds, it needed it. Use code SkinTalks15 at bskinenvie.ca, spelled bskinenvie.ca, for 15% off your first order. So what about, do you think there is an ingredient or promise people are chasing that distracts people from real skin health?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of broken promises out there with like these miracle ingredients, or this all-star product that's going to kind of do it all. And I think it really goes back to that holistic approach where you need to have proper cleansers and toners. You need to prepare the skin. We need to then treat the skin. Add that correction in. The moisturization of the skin is huge. We don't talk enough about the skin's barrier function.
Oh, yeah.
And our microbiome, and we have our amazing Envie product, which helps to solve that. And then the sunscreen. So I think it really comes down to taking more of that holistic approach, and that there's no one real magic bullet or one ingredient that's going to just do it all. It's really the
It's a
synergy of
comprehensive, it's the synergy amongst everything. Yeah, I agree with
the
you.
synergy of ingredients working together. And then the thing is that your products have to be really pH balanced. And that's something we take a big time to do at Vivier, is to ensure that each of the products are really pH balanced so that they work together synergistically. They're not fighting against each other and your skin.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's great. That's great. Okay, so let's get it a little bit into your skin, the skin, lifestyle, and behavior. So we talked before about what people misunderstand. And, we talked about getting routines with systems and kits and all that kind of stuff. But from your perspective, how much of the skin health actually comes from products versus lifestyle and daily habits?
Yep. So this is a big one, and it's one that we're not talking enough about, is that lifestyle habits account for probably about 80% of what doctors see on a regular basis. Of course, we know there's all these disease states. There's not a whole lot that we can do, and they have to treat those. But I was talking with my personal physician, and he was saying that lifestyle is really, massive in regards to not only your skin, but how your whole body and how you age in terms of metabolic rates, disease states and things like that. But obviously, sugars and our diet and what we eat is so important to our overall health, but also our skin. It's tremendous. And then obviously things like smoking and drinking alcohol and all of these things that are amazing and we love to do, can really have a major effect in the skin. I actually decided to cut alcohol out several months ago.
Okay.
Just because I was, I'm really at that stage of my life where I'm realizing I'm kind of on that back nine, and I want to take the best care of myself, going to the gym every day, eating well, taking better care of my skin. So these lifestyle habits and things really play a big part. The other part that we don't talk enough about is genetics. So certain people are blessed with really great genetics. Typically your darker skins, Fitzpatrick 5 and 6, age
beautiful.
very, very well. Yeah. They've got beautiful skin. You see, the darker skins as they're into their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they're usually pretty amazing. But, that's where great skincare products can step in and really help to mitigate, some of these lifestyle choices, and can really reverse. I've seen within 3 to 6 months, like phenomenal changes in the skin. So if you think about it, we've been abusing the skin for years, and then as little as 3 to 6 months, we can really turn things around.
Absolutely.
But that goes for everything. You just cut out alcohol, you start going to the gym, you start eating well and doing these things. The changes I'm seeing very quickly in my body are amazing. You feel better, you sleep
feel better, and your energy's better. But I also wanted to mention, like we're hearing more and more about the importance of sleep as well, our chronobiology and like how we function. and our overall health related to sleep, but also breath. There's so many things that we're learning today, and it's so interesting when you get into it. But, skincare, obviously, when it comes to a topical or even skincare that you don't, like treatments that you would do in a spa or a medical practice, are important piece of the puzzle. But lifestyle and healthy choices are also a very big fundamental part. We always say like skincare is 20%, but what you do at home and how you live your life is 80%. So we say the same thing, more or
Yeah.
less.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really important. And I think what we do a lot when we're younger, we get away with it, but certainly as we're
Yeah.
going through the game of life and maturing, as we say,
Yeah.
it's interesting. You have to make, I think, better and better choices.
Yeah.
They have massive impacts on our health and our longevity
And how we feel.
and the quality of the time that we have,
Yeah.
in front of us. And it's cool to see, like at the gym now, I'm seeing a lot of 60, 70, 80-year-olds there. A guy that I used to golf with, I couldn't believe it. He's 80. He's in incredible shape. He's probably in better shape than I am at 80.
That's great.
And he just started 6 years ago, and he decided that he was going to turn things around and get really, really into good shape. So, so he started into his 70s. So you can see how quickly, the small changes just make a massive,
They do.
massive overall.
We just had a big conversation about that. Movement is fundamental for the entire lymphatic system. But more and more we're understanding, I think for a long time, most women, and I'm sure a lot of men as well, I can only speak on behalf of women, but we did a lot of cardiovascular exercise because, for weight management, right? Like to keep you think you're staying fit, and at the same time you can eat and manage your weight and, still feel relatively good. But what we're learning more and more of now is really the importance of weights and building muscle, and the importance of eating protein, and all of these things that are going to help to support healthy aging, being more important than ever. So, it's lifestyle is important. I love the fact that you're exploring this now, but we also hear more and more about, people, there's the younger generation is completely sober now. Like they just don't even drink. Right.
Yeah.
Whereas
Drinking rates are down. Yeah, and people are
huge
just
in the younger
being-
generations. Yeah. It's an interesting thing, and it'll be interesting to look down the road when you study our times, what people will find when they study it and see how we are living our lives and our longevity, right? Because longevity is such an important and very big trending subject right now, you know?
Something that's been really interesting to me as well is, and this actually brings a health component. I mean, cardio is exactly that. It's cardio. So we're exercising the heart and it's a muscle and keeping it strong. But one of the things I'm learning a lot more and we haven't talked a lot about is sweating.
Yes,
and the use
also
of
detoxification.
saunas.
Yeah.
And so sauna use is huge. Obviously, in places like Finland, spas have been used for a long time. They have a lot of cardiovascular benefits, but the act of actually sweating is very good for the skin as well. We're bringing oils and sebum and different things up to the skin, and so that's a whole new area that I'm doing a lot more research in the benefits of actually just perspiring.
Yeah.
Throughout your workouts or whatever.
Well, it's
happens to
needed
be
because it's the body's natural way also to
cleansing.
detoxify, right? Like to get all the bad out. And I think that's great. That's very interesting. So what's one daily habit that quietly damages skin more than people realize, in your opinion?
So this is really fun. It's washing your skin.
Oh, interesting.
And so let me explain. So one of the things that I see a lot of people who are not using proper skincare is they're washing their skin. And I'll talk on behalf of the guys. They're in the shower.
Yeah.
They're using body wash or shampoo just to wash the skin. And then they're using a cloth, or sometimes people are using different things, and then we use our towel after as well, and we're really drying off the skin. And so we have our microbiome, and that's really important. That's all the different types of bacteria that are on the skin. So it's okay to wash your skin, but if you're not rebalancing your hydration, your lipid levels, your microbiome, then you are actually damaging it. Water in its itself with certain, basic washes can actually be quite really damaging and harsh to the skin. Our washes, our cleansers are actually all pH balanced and neutral. And that's where we have also like exam that helps to regulate bacteria and bad bacteria on the skin. So, something as simple as a cleanser, ours are again more medical grade, and there's really specific ingredients in there to properly wash the skin. So that you're leaving the skin in balance. And then I go back to then we have like Dermavie and some of these other products. And really, when you're adding a moisturizer back in, you're actually, replacing and putting that lipid barrier back in there. But if we just wash the skin has a pH of about 5.5 and water has a pH of 7. So depending on how we're washing the skin, that actually can actually do a little bit more harm than good. So there is a proper way to clean your skin and to wash your skin to make sure that we're doing it in the right way so that we're not actually damaging the skin.
Yeah, I love that. I never thought about that before, really. I mean, I have learned about that in the past, but I forgot. So that's a really important part. And I guess it's true. People tell us all the time they're washing their skin with, Dove soap. Or, I'm always like,
Gives me
what?
anxiety.
It gives us anxiety. Tashi's back.
Even if it's not even the face, it's also the body.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the brands have really, really great cleansers, and there is a proper way to wash your skin so that we're not damaging it. Again, it's really important to however you're drying your skin is to make sure that the towels are clean, that we're changing them out regularly, because that's another big factor is that towels can be full of bacteria. So when we're washing our skin, we're really disrupting its natural oils. We're stripping sometimes too much of the oils, which is not a good thing. So great cleansers are always going to wash the skin, remove bad bacteria, encourage, good healthy bacteria, maintain a good oil level, and keep the skin in a balance. Otherwise, we could be really stripping it too much. And then if we're not doing anything else post that, then the skin now is going to be fighting all day to start producing some oil and its own natural bacteria and stuff to get back to
Its homeostasis. And that's where we see a lot of problems around sensitivity, premature aging of the skin, acne. There's a lot of things like that. What I wanted to talk about in terms of the towel, what I'm seeing a lot of, we just brought a brand in on BSE called the
Clean Skin Club.
Yeah, it's these disposable face cloths.
They're amazing.
And they're selling like nuts. And I think it's really that, people are using the same face cloth day after day after day, towels and stuff on the skin that are dirty.
I think it's also made of I could be butchering this, but I think it's made of like a microfiber towel, like towels of some sort. Yeah. So it's
more gentle.
A lot gentler on the skin. I use one every single day when I wash my face. And I find like it's so much more gentler than a regular towel is. So that's also really good for people who, let's say, actually have sensitive skin that doesn't tear at their skin. Because some people don't really get new towels. They keep the same ones forever and they become raggedy and like not really.
Yeah, it's not good. So it's like the simple things that we don't even think about sometimes, that just bring it to the forefront, making it a little bit more obvious. Mike, let's get into what Vivier is so very famous for. And we want to talk about vitamin C's, but so vitamin C is probably one of the most studied, popular, important, trending, all of the things, ingredient in skincare that where we really see, with the exception of, let's say, vitamin A, retinol, as a very important ingredient to incorporate into your daily routine. But we do know that not all vitamin C's are equal. So what do people really need to understand about vitamin C before they start using it?
Yeah, so vitamin C is a water-soluble molecule. And a lot of the skincare companies out there have to put it into or choose to put it into a cream, because anytime you want to try to put it into a water base, it doesn't stay very stable. It will oxidize, and it doesn't work very well. The problem with creams, though, is that they're going to sit mainly on the surface of the skin, and our collagen is being really produced, in and around the epidermis, but the dermis. The papillary dermis is really where we have all of our collagen, and so that's why we want to use vitamin C. Is it's one of the best known molecules out there that is a cofactor in the production of collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein found in the body. Collagen is what gives us our volume. So when you look at a baby, which is there, and probably got a beautiful skin, a
Beautiful,
little
gorgeous. I can't
face,
stop looking at it.
and so plump and so
Yeah.
luscious. They're full of collagen. When we get to be about the age of 25 to 30, we start to lose about 1% of our collagen every year. So as we lose volume, the light starts to hit the skin in a different way, and we have the appearance of what we call looking old or older. When we have a wrinkle, it's a loss of collagen, and because it's a fold, what happens, the light refracts off of it, and we see it as a dark or a black line, and we don't see that as being very youthful. So volume is really the key to having that youthful sort of complexion and that glow. That's why in clinic people are doing a lot of hyaluronic acid fillers. There's more permanent fillers, but we're adding volume in, and that's really comes down to what we perceive innately as being beautiful. So
Youthful.
vitamin C is so important in that, but it comes down to its chemical form. You really need to have L-ascorbic acid. It's 100% bioavailable to the skin. So there's a lot of products out there that have ester forms, and these ester forms need to be broken down and converted into L-ascorbic acid so that it can be actually utilized by the body. So we're using the purest form, and then what's really cool is we put it into a serum. Most brands don't have a serum. And then our competitors are in a water base, and water does not penetrate very, very well into the skin. So we are in a glycol base, and the glycols will mimic the phospholipids, the glycolipids, the cholesterols in the skin, and will really allow it to penetrate. We actually did a study at the University of California, Irvine, that showed that our serums, penetrated about 4 times more effectively than the other serums on the market. So it's really important to have that formulation and that technology to be able to get the most out of your vitamin C. So the other products on the market are good. Are they going to work? Absolutely. It's just that when you're able to get that penetration and you have the stability factor there, which is what we have in our serums, that's where we see that they're superior.
Yeah. And so, people think that all vitamin C's are kind of equal, but the formulation, the stability, and the delivery system for the vitamin C are actually more important than the ingredient itself almost.
Correct. Yeah. And so the thing is what happens is in our skin, we have a lot of what are called free radicals and waste. And free radicals are, they're scavengers. They're going around and they're looking
Damaging, right?
Exactly. They're damaging, and essentially they're missing an electron. And antioxidants have the ability to lend an electron and neutralize them. So that's one of the things that's really, really cool about having a very powerful vitamin C, is that it can go in there and neutralize all that. I actually brought today, and I had it here as a little thing. I don't know if you can see my
I
beaker.
can see it. Yeah.
But
It's
I
a
have
little beaker.
of water. And then we can take some iodine. So I'm going to show you guys a little quick experiment, which I love to do, is we're going to put some iodine into a beaker of water.
Okay. Let me see it more. I can't see it, Mike. So lift it up. There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I can see.
So we put some iodine into the water, and iodine is essentially an oxidant.
Okay.
So I'm just going to grab some vitamin C, and I'll pull this up for you guys so you can see this.
Okay. Fun. So for those that are listening, you got to go on YouTube and check this out, because we're doing a mini experiment here.
So if you put a bunch of vitamin C into the formulation and we touch it and we mix it up, it's going to start neutralizing everything that's in there. And what it'll do is it will completely make it go completely clear.
Oh my
So you can
gosh.
see the power of vitamin C and how it's being liberated in water.
Wow.
So
That's impressive.
That's the power. And then it goes in there, and if we add more iodine back in, it'll continue to neutralize it. So vitamin C is great for collagen, but it is also a great ingredient and an amazing product that goes into the skin to neutralize all that damage that's either coming in from the sun, from smoke, smog, pollution, our own free radicals. And we have about 24 hours of protection in the skin when you're using the Vivier vitamin C's. So in our study, we wanted to see that when you put an initial dose on, that it is effective for a full 24 hours. That's why we recommend, though, at night to use it again, is to boost it back up so that we're staying, always at that
The
threshold
same levels. Yeah.
where we're really, really protected. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So is
So
it,
hopefully you guys could see that. Hopefully it
yeah,
came
no,
up
that was really fun. That
properly, but
was
it's
really
really
fun.
neat to be able to see how it's changing, and it's being able to be liberated in water. And the skin is, the majority of the skin is made up of water. So it's really neat that it can be able to diffuse in that. And if you try creams and these types of things, it'll just float around and it won't really go in there and it won't really neutralize it. So that's really the benefit of having a vitamin C serum.
Okay. So beyond, we talked a little bit about this, but beyond the brightening, beyond the, let's say, free radical protection and all that kind of stuff, what role does vitamin C play long-term on skin health and aging, let's say?
Yeah, so basically, as we're doing that, like I was saying, it's a cofactor in the production of collagen. So we're getting that benefit, we're getting that brightening. So one thing that's really neat about vitamin C as well is that it is an anti-tyrosinase inhibitor.
Yeah.
Tyrosinase is this enzyme that goes in that will activate our melanocytes to produce pigmentation in the skin. So that helps to give us a more even skin tone. It gives us a very radiant skin tone. The big trick outside of volume is radiance. And again, it has to do with light. It's amazing that when we put makeup on the skin, how it can change the appearance.
Absolutely.
It really hasn't changed our appearance. It's changing the way that light is hitting the skin and how we see something and how we perceive it. So vitamin C gives you that healthy glow, and when you have that glow, the light is hitting the skin in a much better way, and again giving us that youthful appearance that we're all looking for. So vitamin C, for so many reasons, is amazing, but one we actually, and it's probably a good segue into what we're talking about skin health, is at a cellular level, it's able to go in and to help protect our skin cells and keep them around longer. And when you have more skin cells, again, that gives you more.
I love that. I love that. So some people
I love vitamin C.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm a big believer, but I often come across people that say in our virtual consultations, also in our Medi-Spa in Hudson, people will say, well, no, I can't use vitamin C. It didn't work for me. So why do you
my
think
skin's too sensitive?
Yeah, they're sensitive is the great one. We hear that all the time. It's like, okay, but what do you think is going wrong with people?
Yeah. So certain like of our competitors, as an example, they're in a water base. And when they're in a water base, to try to stabilize it, they're adding sometimes some alcohols and certain things into the formulations to try to keep it stable and to drop the pH. So it's not going to be tolerated by everyone. And that was one of the big things that we wanted to address when we were making our serums, is that when we went with the encapsulation technology, we're free from any alcohols or harsh ingredients. So a lot of people who've had redness or irritation with other different types of vitamin C's try ours, and they're usually quite surprised. The nice thing about it in the serum form is that 3 drops will do the entire face. So a little goes a long way, and you can see how in water it's able to get liberated. So the thing is that, again, it goes back to trial and error. Certain people have broken out with one product or one ingredient, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't try other brands or other products. And so, if somebody is really sensitive, there are other vitamin C's in cream form out there that might benefit them a little bit more than an actual serum.
Yeah.
But it's all about trial and error and finding the right products that work for you. Not every product and every brand is going to work for everyone at specifically that time. And then the other thing is if they were using other products, did they actually get a breakout from one of the other products, and now they're associating it with vitamin C, and they're like, oh, for sure the vitamin C broke me out, or I'm having an issue with vitamin C when it wasn't that at all.
Yeah. What I've noticed, Mike, is that many brands, there are some exceptions like Vivier and some other ones on the market, that really just only have 1 or 2 different vitamin C's. And, we know that people have different skin types and they have different concerns. So somebody who is very dry and dehydrated and their skin and then you have somebody who's very oily and acne prone, you can't be using the same product on them. So one may work for one skin type and concern where it won't work for another. So that's what I love so much when we get into more professional brands and pharmaceutical brands, the medical grade that we talk about all the time, is really that especially like a brand like Vivier, I think you guys have 8 or 9 different vitamin C's,
Yep,
you know,
correct.
and a lot
Yes,
of
we have
people,
something for everyone. Yeah.
right. So, but that's interesting, I find, because you've been able to identify the different types of skins, the different types of concerns, and address it with the vitamin C that will work for them. So I want to talk about your vitamin C's. I don't know. I think you have 8 or 9. How many do you actually have?
We're at 9 overall.
Okay.
And that what you were just saying is a really great example of like the one that we were using today was CE peptides.
Yeah.
And so vitamin E actually is more lipid soluble, and vitamin E, not everyone can tolerate vitamin E.
Right.
And so definitely, you know, somebody who's a little bit more dry, sensitive might really like the vitamin E, but somebody who's more oily and acne prone may not need the vitamin E. And that's why we have C, which is pretty much the same thing as CE peptides, but without the vitamin E in there.
So it's more for an acne prone.
Yeah, so somebody might think that if they've had some type of an adverse reaction or something with a vitamin C, they actually think it's vitamin C as a whole, but it could be more like the vitamin E or other ingredients in these products that really is the irritant, not vitamin C itself. So then they should always go back to trying another vitamin C, you know, and trying different things. That's part of how it goes, is that, you know, we have to try certain things out, and what works for one person might not work for the next.
Exactly. That's what I love so much about you, is that you really have identified that. So when we're building routines for people, because I think one of the biggest things for us is that, you know, we know today there's a million different brands on the market. It's, you know, skincare is really popping off and everybody loves it. And most people use some form of skincare, but that you've been able to, you know, the thing that I always focus on, sorry, I lost my train of thought there, is really around getting expert advice from somebody who really is a skin expert. I think we don't value that enough. We often go to, you know, let's say department stores or follow a celebrity online and just say, okay, well, she's using that. Her skin looks great, so I'm just going to get that for myself. Or having somebody that has, you know, budgets that they need to uphold and recommending a whole slew of products for you based on, you know, them needing to meet a budget for the brand that they're representing, instead of really like looking at your skin underneath a loop, a light where you can really see a magnifying glass, to be able to understand, asking questions to the person, to be able to understand what their lifestyle is about, what's their current routine, what are their habits, how do they eat, what is their skin type, what is their concerns, what products are they using, like getting into that nitty gritty, and then being able to build out something that is really customized to that person based on budget, goals, concerns, skin type, you name it, you know, like, and everything. But what I love so much about Vivier is that you've really done that, and you've supported that, the esthetician and the professional, to be able to go through that consultation and full analysis process, and then to be able to make the recommendation on the right vitamin C, the right moisturizer, you know, cleanser we talked about before, the right retinol, because retinol is also super important. I think for the majority of people, everybody should be using a retinol.
Absolutely.
We are learning that more and more, but really to support that, you know, really being able to get the most optimized, healthiest version of your skin. I think it's incredibly important. And I love that you guys have done that.
I don't know if you've heard that.
No.
ACES.
No.
So ACEs. So A is vitamin A, which is your retinol.
Yeah.
Your vitamin C.
Yeah.
An exfoliation product.
Yeah.
And a sunscreen.
I love that.
So that's the basics of skincare, is your ACEs. That's a great way to remember it. So a vitamin C, a retinol, a sunscreen, and some basic form of an exfoliation product, and you have the basis of a really good routine. I mean, we took, like I said, the guesswork out of it with our amazing systems, because you have 6 products in there and you have all of those bases covered. But really that is what you're saying is 100% true, and it really is the game changing factor in it. You know?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
just
the
want
skin's
more
our
people to
largest
know
organ in
about
the
it.
body.
Yeah. We just like, it's really important for us as Tashi and myself of, founders of Boutique Skin Envie, but also the Skin Talks podcast, is really to be able to let people know about this. Cause sometimes I think like people just don't know about it. If they knew about it, they would be like, oh my gosh, there's something available out there for me, because everybody's looking for, to have a nice, beautiful complexion at every age and stage of their lives. And I don't think it's just females or women. I think it's all people really want to have and feel good in their bodies and in their skin. And we're trying to bring more and more intention around that. So, I love that. So just quickly, can you do a quick review on your different vitamin C's? You talked about the CE peptides, go through and let people know if you have this kind of skin, this might be the better choice, because you really have a very full selection.
Yeah. So I guess the quickest way I can explain it without going into all of them, because we'd be here for
a long time.
Everyone would have to listen to me for about 3 hours.
Okay.
But it's all about the journey. So it starts off with your basic vitamin C's and vitamin C's alone, sort of your 10%, your 20%, and then it moves into kind of with peptides. So you have Kinase C or the CE peptides. Kinase C is more for your more oily, acne-prone sort of patient, and those who want a little bit more of the hydration, and sort of more the dry sensitive would really like more of the CE peptides. And then it moves into what we have as our Quintus serum. Our Quintus serum is basically like CE peptides, but on steroids. It has a few other peptides added in there, and those are the ones that we're fully needing to really boost collagen.
So it's more mature skin types, right?
Yeah, more mature skin types, or those who need more correction. And again, that depends on where you're at, genetic factors, lifestyle factors. I mean, we all have that picture in our mind of people that are, a woman that's 50 and she looks like she's 30, and then there's some that are 50 and they look like they're 70.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been heavy smokers or drinkers or
sun worshippers.
Sun worshippers, these types of things. So from there, it'll move more into then our Grancine serum with polyamines and the Grancine line of products. So basically, it's all about, at Vivier, it's about the journey and about having the right products for everyone to start on a journey. And as they're progressing, they can always step it up.
Yeah.
So if you're getting really great results and you get to a certain plateau, you have to step it up. And I love the gym analogy. You're going to the gym, or we're trying to, lose weight. You start hitting these sort of plateaus, and you need to change it up to get a different result, So you'll go along and a product might work for you for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you're like, I really want something a bit stronger. We have that option so that people can move through the brand and move through the line and grow with the line as well. So there's always transition SKUs that we have. We have also our serums that have added ingredients. We have a non-hydroquinone and a hydroquinone based product for more skin lightening. So those are really great, especially after the summer months. We've, had a bunch of, pigmentation, those types of things. So I cycle on and off those products. I just finished that cycle. So typically right at the end of the summer into the late fall and the beginning part of winter, I'll do, a couple of months
with hydroquinone
on those products. Yeah. And then, once I get the results that I want, then I'll go back onto more of maintenance. But we do have to correct the damage that is done over the summer.
Yeah, I really love that explanation. And what I also like a lot about your hydroquinone system, because I've recommended it many times, but I've seen the results of it, is that you really just don't have that typical hydroquinone reaction. Somehow the systems that you have really, they protect the skin. They balance out the microbiome. They make sure everything's working in harmony, so that you don't have the secondary effects of like deep peeling, the way some systems do, that people abandon the routine sometimes because they just can't handle it, right?
Yeah, we actually added peptides and different ingredients that really suppress inflammation, and inflammation is the root of all evil. So we call it skinflammation, and I think we might have talked about that on one of our other podcasts. But inflammation in the skin is huge, and we really need to keep that down. So after post procedure, but also the sun. There's so many different things that cause inflammation in the skin, and that's really important to mitigate.
Yeah. Sometimes we need it a little bit to stimulate, like in microneedling and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
you spike it, but you have to make sure that whatever else you're doing in your life and in using it with your products is really respecting, like reducing the inflammation.
Yeah, inflammation short term, when we're trying to get correction, is
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
a major key to stimulating the skin and getting it to start stimulating collagen and elastin and get the fibroblasts
Yeah.
really
But
going.
chronic
But chronic
is not
acute
good.
is no problem. It's actually highly encouraged with all the procedures that we do.
Yeah.
But long term chronic inflammation
It's terrible for the body.
is
It's terrible for the body. Overall, we know that more and more now. We talk
yes,
about it more and
and
more.
especially as we're aging, you can certainly feel it and understand it in the skin, in the body, and everywhere.
So in your opinion, Mike, like how do you think that we should change our relationship to our skin in a culture and an age where people are so obsessed with like regeneration and reversing time and age?
Yeah, so basically, everyone wants to hold on to the fountain of youth, and it's really all about, like we're saying, skin health at a cellular level. One of the things we sort of forget is that our skin, on a day to day, it's hard to actually, fathom how much it actually is going through. The amount of stress and stressors on the skin day to day is phenomenal. So really getting into proper regime and routine, and the consistency of it is where we see results. It's just like the gym. You have to really go every day. You have to eat well every day to get those results. So that consistency and how diligent we are in our routine is, I think, really really going to help. But the thing I do love about today is, and you mentioned it, is that people are drinking less or giving up drinking. Smoking rates are way down. Gym memberships are way up. People are eating healthier and healthier and demanding healthier foods out of their grocery stores and restaurants. So people are taking care of themselves a lot more, and that really includes the skin. So we've seen a massive surge in skincare sales, right across the globe. And that's really just because people are really getting wise to the fact that, and even the youth generation, the younger generation, is hyper consuming products, which
Yeah.
is great to see. They're really taking care of themselves.
Yeah, we just have to make sure that the relationship to what healthy skin is like, especially for young people, we're seeing like overconsumption of young people and this like obsession with anti-aging. Keeping that in a healthy with a healthy mindset is very important, I think, for the younger people.
Yeah, we live in this new digital world where AI is here and here to stay, and a lot of people today love to have a presence on social media.
Yeah.
There's a huge now video and vlogs, and what we're doing right now is huge, and our skin is our calling card. So more than ever, we're photographed. We're in this digital era where everything every day. I sort of look at my kids, and it's like they're taking photos and videos every day, constantly. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So this need to look good, and there's a big pressure in society, and I think that in some ways it's been good, but in other ways, again, when things are they're pushed too much, they can become an obsession. It can become,
Or it can be
a
even
little bit.
dangerous, like, using 5 different acids on your skin every single day. And this is how perfect it looks. Like if you try to do that, you're going to mess things up pretty nasty for yourself. Right. So it's just, the education component. And that's, again, why we do what we do, so people can learn. So with every podcast that we have, we always ask 3 questions at the end. It's kind of like
Yes.
our signature rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you just a few, or 3 specifically. So what is one skincare myth to unlearn?
I think that that everyone thinks that more product is necessarily better, I use the example of cleaning the car. Half the time I want to put half a bottle of soap into the bucket of water, and I think that the car's going to be
Somehow going to be magically cleaner.
cleaner or sparkle more. And that's probably one of the biggest myths, is that when you have really concentrated, good quality skincare, less is actually more.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. One habit that improves skin long-term.
So something that people don't talk enough about is drinking water. That's been a big thing that I've really incorporated over the last few months, is I'm drinking liters of water now per day. I realized that I'd wake up in the morning and, have a coffee, come to work, have a coffee, maybe have a glass of water with lunch. And then I, would get in and have a small glass of water with dinner. And really, I've only had 2 glasses of water in the entire day. And so it goes back to your hydration levels. The more water we consume, the more blood volume you have, the more volume you have, you're hydrating your body. So when we're talking about lifestyle and choices, a lot of people are walking around dehydrated. I see it this time of the year. I had a colleague that had some sore and pulled muscles, and I was like, right away, immediately, have you been drinking a ton of water? No. Well, it's probably 12% humidity in this building right now.
Yeah.
And you're dehydrated. So typically headaches.
Yeah.
Muscle aches,
lack of mental clarity, even like if you're not,
clarity,
it's a lot. It affects the body a lot.
Yep. So drinking a lot of water is one quick, easy way to start,
Implementing absolutely.
And getting better results with your skin. Yeah.
I love that. And one thing people consistently overdo in their routine.
Exfoliation. So that's something I see that can easily get overdone, because now there's polishes, there are scrubs, there's retinol, there's polishing devices, there's enzymatic masks. So exfoliation is good to a point, but it can easily be overdone. And people who start to exfoliate really typically love to exfoliate, because at the beginning it really makes the skin feel baby soft. But the idea is to get, some of that dead skin off the surface, and to polish it and to give it that luminosity. But again, it can be easily overdone. So it's just one of those things that if you're exfoliating regularly out there, just to make sure that you're not overdoing it.
Yeah. And to use the right exfoliator, because like you said, there's many different variations, right? There's enzymatic, there's polishes that have granules in them. And I know Vivier has 2 great exfoliators, and besides your retinol system, but you've got 2. You've got one that has the vitamin C scrub.
Yeah, so we have the vitamin C scrub.
And
we
then
have
the
IEP, which is really, really cool, which is our exfoliating product, which is like a daily peel. If you're in clinic, we actually have 2 different types of chemical peels.
The
then we
Jasmine
have
and the
our
Glow.
exfoliant and our exfoliant forte, which
I haven't
is
used those ones before.
pure glycolic and lactic acid. So they're much stronger, kind of like mini peels. So exfoliation is great, but it's, again, really important to make sure that there's a limit to exfoliation.
And to follow the protocol, right? Follow the protocol and complement the exfoliation with the products in the system. Really important. Yeah. Well, this has been so great today. I'm sorry that I had to do this. Tashi had to take care of Maximilian.
We're a family company. We're so excited for Tash, right? And kids are the best, and it's just part of life. This is how life goes. It's a wonderful and beautiful thing.
I know it really is. Yeah, it's a blessing. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to have you back. It's been really great chatting with you.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you guys again and to be part of Skin Talks.
Thank you for listening to Skin Talks.
If this episode inspired you, taught you something new, or just made you feel seen, please share with someone you love. And if you believe in thoughtful and empowering conversations that help you make better choices for yourself around your beauty and wellness, please rate and review the show. It helps us to grow our community, and we deeply appreciate it. Because this isn't just about skin.
It's about claiming your beauty, feeling strong, informed, and at home in yourself.
See you next week.